I don't think you can go backwards once you've accomplished what Durant's accomplished. But his goal was to move forwards. And he's standing still now. Like, I think a few things are one thing is crystal clear. I think this absolutely guarantees Kevin Durant's going to go his entire career and never be the best player in the league. And folks will be like, oh, Nick, but he was. When? When was he? Tell me when he was. Because last year, Giannis won the title and beat him. The year before, LeBron won the title. So it wasn't either the last 2 years. And 2019, he was injured at the end. 2018, LeBron had maybe his single best season ever. So, like, when was Kevin Durant the best player? And here's the other thing, Antoine. Because a friend of Wildes and a semi-friend of mine, maybe the only person who loves NBA lists as much as me, Bill Simmons, and he cares a lot about this stuff, keeps calling KD one of the 10 greatest players ever. I just don't see how that's possible. I'm just going to throw names at you real quick. So you have LeBron, Kareem, Michael, Magic, Wilt, and Russell. That's 6 names, okay? You have Duncan, Kobe, and Bird. Now we're at 9. So in order to be in the top 10, unless you think he's better than one of those 9, he's better than everyone else. I haven't said Akeem. I haven't said Shaq. Forget Dr. J and Moses and Oscar and Jerry West. Forget those guys. But now we're at 14 guys. But I haven't mentioned Steph or Giannis. And I'm having a hard time believing right now he's a better all-time player than Steph Curry, personally. So, yeah, if KD had led this team to the title, then I wouldn't have a hard time believing that. Instead, they got swept in round 1. So, of course, this impacts his legacy.
I got to disagree with you, Nick, on this one as far as it impacting his legacy. We got to stop acting like the Brooklyn Nets were supposed to win the NBA title. They got in through a play-in situation. They were the 7th seed. They played against a 2 seed. The Boston Celtics, and I said this, and I was the first to admit this, I thought it would be a deep series because I have a lot of respect for KD and Kyrie Irving's offensive ability. I thought it would be a deep series, but it wasn't going to be that they advance and make a deep run in the playoffs. I never said that. I don't know where people get this whole notion that they were supposed to win it all. So for them to be a 7th seed and obviously getting swept is never good. But KD, odds were against him this year. He played on a team that was not completely together when you look at the roster. Ben Simmons never played. Kyrie Irving with the pandemic, sitting out those games. So it was stacked up against him. He had a great season for a guy who had to basically play by himself for the most part. He had very average coaching this season, a coach that would not make adjustments and do things that was necessary to make the situation better for him. But his legacy is not – this has nothing to do with his legacy. KD's legacy is not going to be judged off a 7th seed in the playoffs against a very good Boston team.
He picked the coach.
I don't know if you guys think that they were just going to turn it on after being a terrible defensive team all season long and beat the Boston Celtics. It wasn't going to happen. All of us respected the fact of their offensive skill set, and they were not great. Now, if you want to judge him on that, he had a bad series offensively, and you think and the only thing I could just say that was probably in a negative fashion, if I felt like the Nets were going to be as close as they were in most of these games, I would have betted on KD closing the games out. I would have did that. And he did not do that. So if you want to base that on his legacy, then his legacy could be tarnished in that sense. But he didn't have a good enough team to make a deep run and to win an NBA title. Let him get a full team. Let them get this roster together. Then we can start talking about his legacy. This team wasn't that type of team for them this year to be able to put this on his legacy. That's how I feel about this. And you got to really think about it. They were a 7th seed. They had to win a play-in situation to be in the playoffs.
But, Twan, we know they were a 7th seed only because Kyrie wasn't there for 2/3 of the season. James Harden quit on them. Durant himself was hurt for, 21 games straight or something like that. So had they been healthy, and remember, before they brought Kyrie back, they were actually the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So the 7th seed is a bit misleading. But let me say this before I go into my spiel. Being swept does not mean like everybody's been swept essentially. Shaq, I think, was swept 6 times.
5 times.
Kareem
Chris,
was swept in the middle of his prime. Jordan, Kobe and Shaq, Magic and Kareem. Go ahead, Twine.
No, I was saying I was with Shaq when he got swept. We won the NBA title. The next year we got swept by the Chicago Bulls. So I understand that completely.
Right. So I'm not going to just say, oh, he got swept, so that impacts him. But I do think it affects how we view Kevin Durant. Obviously still first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it without question. But let's stop saying he's the best player in the world. He's not. All right, Giannis is the best player in the world. And it is not Kevin. If you want to debate Giannis, it ain't Kevin Durant. Okay, that's just a fact. All right, number 2, stop saying no one should ever again say he's the greatest scorer ever. He's not. Put some respect on Michael Jordan's name. Because Jordan would not, Jordan was swept too. But he never went out like this. He never had one guy lock him up, block his jump shot, and like stuff like that. So those things have to end. And I really I don't want to hear he and Kyrie are the most skilled duo ever either. Because KD is very, very, very skilled for a 7-footer. He's not like incredibly skilled for a 6'8" guy. He's a great shooter. His handle is great for a 7-footer. Is it great for like a 6'6" guy? It's good.
No.
Is he a terrific passer for a 6'8" guy? He's a good passer. So we give KD extra points on skill because he's 7 feet tall. Yeah, so let's stop all of that stuff. All right, KD's got one thing left to prove, Nick, and it is that he can lead his own team to a championship. Now, I was one of the few people that did not kill KD on national TV. I might have been the only one that morning when he went to Golden State that did not kill him, and here's why I didn't. Because I said to everybody, I said, look, you killed LeBron James, and as soon as he won a championship in Miami, everybody was praising him. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and sit up here and rip Kevin Durant, and then when he wins a championship and a Finals MVP next year, praise him. So I didn't rip him. But I'd be lying if I, along with virtually everybody else, doesn't have kind of a mental asterisk in your mind about those 2 championships. Because I think I could name a handful of stars that could have went there and won those championships. So KD's got to prove he can lead a team to a title, and I don't think he will. And to me, forget him being better than Larry Bird. We know LeBron's the best small forward ever. Larry Bird's second, KD won't pass him. And I'm deeming Dr. J, let's give Dr. J some respect.
Thank you.
And I'm putting him above KD because he won 3 championships, led 2 teams to ABA championships, and led the Sixers to 3 finals appearances before Moses got there. So this does impact his legacy to a degree.
And listen, I know folks think that I'm some massive Kevin Durant hater. And he and I have had our instances on the internet, some positive, some negative. But I'm just honest. In this era, I think he's going to go down as the 4th best player. LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Durant. I think that's how it's going to end up. Right? Giannis isn't ahead of him yet. Give Giannis 6 more weeks. And I think he might jump him. I think Steph's ahead of him. And Wildes, I have had to deal with for 5 years. Folks telling me, Durant's been the best player in the league ever since he hit that jump shot in LeBron's eye. Well, if only we had a year 15, age 33 LeBron playoff run to compare to a year 15, age 33 Durant playoff run. Oh, wait, we do. That year, LeBron averaged 34, 9, and 9. He had 8 40-point games. He also played the number 1 defense in basketball, the Boston Celtics, and all he did was hang 46, 11, and 9 and 35, 15, and 9 in their building. and then 51-8-8 in the finals. What'd Durant do? Year 15, age 33. Shot 38%, had 21 turnovers, and was swept. It's never been a discussion for anyone that knows what they're talking about, and yet folks have made it a discussion for a half decade. It's been laughable. It's ridiculous. He is an all-time great who was never for a single day of his career the best player in the league. And if this week didn't prove it, Antoine, then I don't know what will.
Well, I said it yesterday, really quick. I said it yesterday that he's not in that conversation when you talk about the top players that ever played this game, and I'll stay with that. And he's going to go down as a great scorer that played this game at 7 feet, and we will always think about those 2 championships with question marks on it. So that's what his legacy is right now, and he has 4 years to possibly change that. He has 4 years left in his contract.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.